It's time to talk about the big sexies. We're talking the O-line, trench warfare, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're diving into. The Gophers room, names to know, how the two deep could look. Then we'll get into the Big Ten. And then finally, we got to talk Purdue. And I think my Purdue talk, it might surprise you. You're listening to the Gopher Broke podcast. We're talking Gophers once a week, every week. If you haven't found us yet, now you did. Hit subscribe. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, you name it. You'll find us at the Gopher Broke podcast, a Minnesota Gophers football podcast. So hopefully, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe. Please let us know other things you'd love to hear about. But today we're talking about the O-line. We've been going position by position, breaking down the Gophers room, breaking down the Big Ten and how we think those top 10 groups will kind of look, or players will look of some sort. And then we've also been breaking down the Gopher schedule. So if you want to get into the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, go tap into an old show. We talked about Ohio State already. We talked about Rutgers. We talked about WAC. Northwestern State, so don't worry about it. Go hit it. It's still there. It will live in infamy forever. The internet is forever, and who knows what else is going to happen with the internet as AI continues to develop. But Tristyn, how you feeling?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Playoffs are done for basketball now, so welcome to football season. It is officially football season. I want all the talk. I can't wait for all the stories to come out. We're going to get some crazy college football off-season stories. It's going to be great. I'm very excited.
Hey, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Now, before we get into our regularly scheduled program, I got to know, do you have any gripes going on right now?
Right now, I'm going through a personal thing where last year I fell into this deep situation of this show that I've been watching. And this year I told myself I wasn't going to watch it anymore. I told my wife I wasn't watching it anymore. But I am halfway through Love Island, and I cannot stop. I just can't quit it. I can't quit it. It won't quit me. And I'm just a Love Island fan, and I have to live with that.
Hey, man, it happens. It happens. I'm a big reality television fan myself. I have not tapped into the U.S. Love Islands, but I used to watch the U.K. ones back in the day. The drama was fantastic. Chef's kiss, but I'll dabble in a little bit of the challenge, Big Brother, Survivor, you name it. So I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you. It's not like you over here saying the Kardashians or, the Real Housewives. I might judge you a little bit on that one, but to each their own. I gotta let people enjoy the television that they want, because you know what? As long as you don't have that drama in your real life and you can just watch it on the TV, I ain't judging you.
That's true. That's true. It is nice to just watch other people's toxicity and just not have to be involved in any of it in real life. So, and I did. I grew. I mean, when we were growing up, Jersey Shore. I loved Jersey Shore. Loved it. And so I just told myself I wasn't going to watch it. And then Chloe started it. And I was like, I'm just in the background. I'm hearing it. Then I'm asking questions. Now I'm like, catch me up. What's this couple got going on? I'm all in now. So
yeah. And anytime they hit Casa Amor, something's going down. Something bad's about to happen.
It's a problem right now.
Somebody's about to get caught. Something is going to happen. Plain and simple. If you haven't seen it before, just know, go hit it, go watch it. It's on Hulu. And then when you hear Casa Amor, just know it's about to get dirty. It's about to get deep. It's about to get grimy. Whatever you want to describe it, that's what that is.
Oh, yes. It's a dangerous situation. What a show. What a show.
I love it. I feel it. Well, I made it back from St. Louis. We did hit the drive last week. Last week, I probably drove a total of like 24 hours throughout the entire week.
Lord.
So that was a lot of driving. I had a couple casino drives. I had to drive to St. Louis, from St. Louis, all that stuff. I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be off the road, and I'm ready to talk some Gophers football. So the first up, ChatGPT question, I'm tripping, Huntington Bank Stadium If it had a secret tunnel, where would the tunnel lead?
Mm. Ooh. A secret tunnel underneath the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of something Minnesota related. That is a good one. Do you have any ideas?
I was gonna say like one of the local U of M bars or something like that. It was just like a quick
Like
way to get there or something
it
like
goes
that.
straight to whatchamacallit? What's the bar? Oh, what's the bar that they all go to? I can't think of what it's called. Dang, close not down. If I can't think of what it's called, I always I've always messed with my wife because she went there once, and I always joke with her. I'm like, yeah, they kicked you out. You can't go back, and it just didn't happen. But it's so funny.
And then another option I kind of thought of, but it's not as fun, is like the practice facility or like maybe the a Greek house or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
some fun like that. I feel like there's a better answer, but that's just what came to mind.
I was thinking, yeah, like I would like what is it? Is Pillsbury in Minnesota? Like it goes straight to the factories of Land O'Lakes or whatever.
It's for those who aren't going pro. You go straight to your job. That's where
Yeah,
you get to go. Oh,
down the
oh
tunnel.
no. Oh no. Well, that we'll have another question here to wrap it up. But that one didn't go as crazy as I thought it was,
That one
but
was tricky. That one was
it was.
tricky.
It's hard when you get them on the spot. I'll just look at it and read it and we'll go with it. So we're not really prepped for it by any means. But before we dive into the offensive line, I do want to talk about two things. First off, I have a correction from last show. One of our listeners tapped in on YouTube, hit me in the comments.
Ooh,
I appreciate you. So we talked about Wisconsin being the number 5 TE room in the conference because they had Tanner Koziel, who transferred in from Ball State, who had like over 800 receiving yards, 94 receptions. Dude was a baller, right? And we didn't want to put Wisconsin on the list, but we
never.
couldn't ignore the numbers. Well, it turns out your boy didn't see. He hit the transfer portal right after spring, said, Sayonara, Wisconsin, I'm going to Houston. So, Wisconsin, you are out of the top 5. Good riddance. I don't care who fills your spot, but it ain't you.
I love that. I love that. Whatever we can do to take whatever little respect we put on Wisconsin and just take it away the next week. Let's do this every week.
Yes,
Every
yes.
week we'll say something nice about Wisconsin and then take it back the next week.
Oh, I'm with it 100%. So thank you for the correction to the listener over on YouTube. Second thing I want to bring up, PJ Fleck is on a heater right now when it comes to the 2026 class for this Gophers team. You are talking the number 14 class currently in the country, which it's early, folks. I get it. Like, you don't want to get your hopes up. We've been 20 before this early, and we fall to like 35 or 40 or whatever. But I don't care about all that. They're probably going to drop us at some point anyway because they'll start to get the helmet schools. They'll start to lift players' ratings because they committed to Ohio State or because they committed to Bama. All of a sudden, they're magically up in the top 10 because all these players got their ratings shifted. And then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, those couple good Minnesota players, we'll tweak them down just a little bit. Just say they had a weird senior year or something like that. Like, it happens every year. It's such a joke. I don't care about the ratings themselves, but what I do care about, PJ Fleck brings the number 1 player in. Once again, that's 4 straight years. We have 4 current number 1 players in the state of Minnesota on this Gophers roster once 2026 season hits. But he didn't stop there. He got the number 1 kid, he got the number 2 kid, he got the number 3 kid, all 3 of them 4-star kids that had national looks. The number 1 kid we pulled away from Bama. PJ Fleck's on a heater, bro. How are you feeling?
Feels great. That's what we were texting a little bit yesterday. I was like, we're about to have a squad. And I love these Minnesota recruits. I love it so much. You have to keep kids home. You have to keep your in-state recruits. And this is nuts. And like, I'm looking at the size of some of these kids. Do you remember? I don't remember anyone being the size of these
No,
humans. As a
no.
senior, like I know they inflate the numbers, and
Bro,
6'6" is probably 6'5", but like the Andrew Trout 6'6", 295 as an
speaking of
18-year-old.
Lando Lakes, what are y'all putting in the food these days? Because
What
these
is
kids are huge these days. What is going on?
massive, massive humans? Like this is crazy work. Like that's the size you hope he's at, like going into his sophomore year. Like
Right.
this is crazy.
Right. It's crazy, but I love it. Andrew Trout, offensive lineman from Minnesota. Howie Johnson, defensive lineman coming in. We got them trench play. And then you got Roman Voss, who plays both edge and tight end. He's most likely going to be a tight end here for Minnesota. Now, we just talked about our tight end show. We talked about after next year, there could be some question marks. Well, we might have the answer. Roman Voss, we said we're looking for hometown heroes. We said we're looking for legends. It's time. You picked Minnesota over Bama. The crown is yours. Go ahead and take it, and we will support you all the way there.
That's a strong name too. That's a strong name. Like Roman Voss coming across the middle. Like
Yep.
you don't want that. You don't want that.
You know there's going to be some sort of nickname tying him to the boss or something like that too. Like,
absolutely. This is great. This is great. It's
I'm
gonna be.
here
It's
for it.
men are always thinking about the Roman Empire.
Yep.
That's all it's gonna be.
There's going to be so many nicknames, and I'm here for it all. I mean, we got Coy Wonder, we got all of that stuff, so we're going to make it happen for sure. That boy Coy. So overall, I'm excited. Roman Voss, thank you for committing to your hometown and locking it in. Much love to you. But let's get to first off, pause. We did miss out on the fourth player. He committed today, and he did not pick us. He picked Penn State. And you know what? Good luck. I don't care anymore. We got the top three. Good luck to you. Like, if you want to transfer back in a couple years, I'll be here touting to come back home. But I think he likely picked Penn State because he also was a two-way player, tight end, and linebacker. Look, he is 6'5", 200 something. He ain't playing linebacker in college. You ain't being 6'5" playing linebacker in college. You would have been moved to the end, and I don't think he's trying to play end, so he wanted to be a tight end, clearly. And Roman Voss just came on board, so if he's like, yo, I don't want to be behind him, I get it. I don't blame him. I'm happy Roman Voss picked us. If I had to pick one of the two, I'm picking the number one kid in the state who turned down Bama. So give me Roman Voss all day, but good luck to Pierce Peterson. But overall, we got our top three guys. We got this class growing. I am getting excited. And we'll talk more about the class as it gets closer to actual signing day because I don't want to go through the heartbreak here if anybody flips. But if we ignore it up until then you don't have to watch us experience that heartbreak live and pull the clips and all that and what have you. So we'll get there towards the end of the year. We'll probably have a couple touch bases as we go. But thank you to Roman Voss, Andrew Trout, and Howie Johnson for staying home and building this class up.
Love it. I love it. It's crazy. These guys choosing to stay home over these huge schools says a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's get into the big men, the big sexies, the offensive linemen. Look, there's a lot of them, and we could have maybe broken this up in different ways. I'm not going to go more so player by player. There will be more in depth for the guys I think will see the field. But let's talk about our projected ones, our projected twos, and then we can just mention some of the depth or the young guys that are there, but you probably won't see much of in the next year or two. So when we're looking at our ones, I'm going to list out who I think could be our starting five or have some battles, and I want your thoughts on who stood out to you or who you're excited about or what have you. So for our starting five linemen, I think left tackle is still currently a battle. I think it's going to be Nathan Roy or Khalid Taifi. Nathan Roy is a redshirt freshman. He was a 4-star last year. And he redshirt, obviously. Khalid Taifi comes from Washington, high recruit type guy, but played part of last year, got hurt, and has been recovering from that injury since. Left guard, we've got Greg Johnson, back at it again, back to his natural position. Center, we've probably got Ashton Beers, and I think that's going to be a good fit for him as well. And then right guard, you got another battle going. Marcellus Marshall, transfer from UCF, versus Tony Nelson, a guy who has been committed, grinded through it, stayed with the program over the years, has 2 years of eligibility left, and he's kind of taken that Tyler Cooper route. And then finally, you got right tackle. I think it's going to be Dylan Ray, transfer in from Kentucky. So of all of those names, 7 names in 5 spots, who's standing out to you? Who are you excited about? What do you want to know?
Offensive lineman. I love you and I appreciate you. You are not very fun to do research on, though. I will say the biggest spot I looked at was the Khalid Taifi. Khalid Taifi.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if
Nathan
it's
Roy
gonna be
battle.
Tafai or Tafi,
Tafai?
or we'll figure it out eventually. That's all I got
Okay,
to say.
that's fair. That's fair. And the Nathan Roy thing. That's what I was looking at when I was kind of trying to figure out what I should take away out of this. Is Nathan Roy was a big 4-star recruit, and you got to imagine he's going to see the field at some point. But being behind a guy who's got a lot more experience, necessarily not necessarily in a bigger conference or anything like that, but a lot more experience. That battle is what kind of intrigued me a little bit, and I think that is something we have to keep our eye on. But you got to think you want him. He's huge already, and seems like he's ready to go. So you want him to go as soon as possible. But we have a lot of those transfers coming in. I have to imagine are going to see the field a little bit.
For sure. No, I'm with you. I think Kali is interesting to me because he's coming off of an injury. He was with Washington. He did play a little bit. I think he started 4 games. And so he doesn't have a ton of experience. He played in probably 8 games, had 4 games starting.
Okay,
But when I looked at it, the dude, and I think he's a redshirt freshman, so he's still got like 3 years left. So he's still a younger dude. But overall, his PFF grades, and I know PFF grades aren't everything, but it's one of the only things you can really look at when it comes to the offensive lineman. So bear with me here. But his PFF grades were horrible. Like they were just all over the place, like really low, below average grades. So it kind of concerned me because he played in the Big Ten, and the 4 starts that he had were his worst games. So it's like, I don't know. I think the upside is there, the size is there, but I think I need to see more, especially because he hasn't worked here with us in the spring because he's still rehabbing from the injury. So he was a no contact, just a jersey on, not working out with the guys in the spring. So I think I lean Nathan Roy. I think Nathan Roy is going to find his way to the field. Now, when Nathan Roy was coming out of high school, he was a 4-star guy, like you said. He was a high school All-American Bowl invitee, so he's like one of the best guys out there. And he didn't get to play because he was injured, but he was with the program all of last year. Now, when you look at his size, I think they have him listed at 6'5", 305. I think they might be lying a little bit on his height, because when I looked at him in spring compared to some of the like the Devin Easterns and the other guys next to him, even Greg Johnson, I was like, he kind of looks a little bit smaller than what you're trying to say he is. But overall, dude is a super athlete. He was touted that way too, being the #1 kid in Wisconsin at the time. So I think Nathan Roy has held his own. I think he will have a lead in that race heading into the fall. And I think as long as he can prove that he is who he says he is, as far as like the athlete, the 4-star, and he learned a ton in year 1 as a redshirt, I think he's going to lead the position for this job. And he got to work behind Ariante Ursery for an entire year. So you have to think he took some things, some pieces, some tips and what have you to hopefully implement him coming up into this year.
Yeah, no, that was the biggest thing I had going in looking at this room is Nathan Roy is who I had written down as a guy who should see the field more this year.
For sure. I'm going to spit on a couple of these other guys. Try to keep it super short too, though. Greg Johnson, it's crazy to think he only has 2 years of eligibility left because he
Yeah.
played as a true freshman. So it's like, dang, he's going to be out of here before we know it. But I think this is going to be his best year by far, because you think about it, he played as a true freshman, and obviously that's a lot to take in as a true freshman as an offensive lineman. He held his own. He had some ups, he had some downs. Then his first year as a starter officially, he gets shifted to center in a position he has never played in his life. He has to learn the entire offense from that capacity, which has a lot more intricacies to it. You got to be reading the coverages, you got to be calling out different things, you got to be setting your line in the right positions. So a ton thrust on him. He held his own, but now he gets to go back to his natural position with that intellect, with that experience. That means he's going to be stronger. He's going to be better. He's going to be faster when it comes to processing things. And I think he's going to ball out and put his name on the map when it comes to Big Ten offensive linemen this upcoming season.
I love that. Yeah, especially like he's proven it that he can get the job done. I don't think it is probably one of the most understated things. Playing offensive lineman as a true freshman has to be one of the hardest things to do in college football. Like every other position, you can kind of get by with your speed, but like if you're a wide receiver, you can just be faster than the other guy. But offensive lineman, you got to have the footwork and you have to be stronger than these grown men in the Big Ten is wildly impressive.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. Other starters we kind of mentioned, Ashton Beers, he's got 2 years of eligibility left too. He started 9 games last year, played both right guard and left guard. Now he's going to be the center, and I actually think he's better off at the center. He looked great at a center the year prior in spring and fall, and then they were just like, no, we're not going to put you there. So I don't know what was going on there, but I think overall we're going to find out this season. And then after that, you got Marcellus Marshall or Tony Nelson. Quick thing on both of them. Marcellus only has 1 year of eligibility left. 6'6", 330 pounds, coming in from UCF. He is graded as a rock solid pass blocker on PFF the last 2 years, but not so great in the run game. But overall, he's seen 780 snaps or more in each of the last 3 seasons. So he has a ton of experience, and he's played 4 of the 5 offensive line positions. So that's a ton of experience, and you love to have that, especially with a newer group overall, which is why I lean that this job goes his way over Tony Nelson. Tony Nelson saw 102 snaps last year. He's got 2 years of eligibility left, 6'6", 315. And so overall, he was super athletic in high school. I didn't know this. He is a 1,000-point scorer in basketball in high school, and he won the state shot put championship. And so overall, I think he's a super intriguing guy. He's going that Tyler Cooper route, but I do lean Marcellus Marshall unless Tony Nelson can definitively be better. And then the final guy, right tackle, Dylan Ray. He played guard last year for Kentucky. He had a strange year for Kentucky. He started a couple games. He played a lot in spots, more of a rotational guy. But he had a string of games versus Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, and Murray State where he played at an elite level. This dude was like extremely above average in the pass blocking department, was putting dudes in the dirt and holding his own. And those were good teams. I mean, minus Murray State, Florida, Auburn, and Tennessee, that's quality competition, which shows you he can be a guy. And pass blocking as now a right tackle, that'll help him lean into the pass blocking side a little bit more and less into the run game when it comes to playing to his strengths. So I think the Gophers are setting him up to do well.
Yeah, no, I love that. I didn't know anything about Dylan Ray. I didn't necessarily dig into him. As I was just looking at the depth chart. We do. I mean, I know it's a position that's, you got to be deep and you got to have guys, but we have a lot of young guys coming behind these guys. Like, there's not like in our other positions where there's a lot of, we got a redshirt senior here, a redshirt, junior here. It's a lot of sophomores, redshirt freshmen. Like, we have some young cats coming through. So it's actually kind of exciting looking forward to the next couple of years, how this offensive line grows if they all stay together.
For sure. No, I feel you. And like speaking to that, I mean, you talk about the projected twos. It's probably left tackle is whoever loses the battle. Right guard is whoever loses the battle. But beyond that, you've got left guard, maybe Jerome Williams, maybe Spencer Alvarez, both young. Well, Alvarez, I think, is a little older, but Jerome Williams, young dude. I think he has 3 years eligibility left. The number one name in that group of twos that I love is Brett Carroll. He is going to be a redshirt freshman this year. 4-star guy, just like Nathan Roy, same class. Both of them got invited to that high school All-American Bowl. So the upside is there. He's a wrestling state champion. He's a track and field state champion. Like, the dude just wins, and he is an athlete. And so overall, I think he is the center of the future. Maybe Ashton Beers holds it down for these next 2 years, but then Brett Carroll could take the next 2 years after that. And knowing that Dylan Ray, knowing that Marcellus Marshall are both 1 year of eligibility left guys, maybe he pulls a Greg Johnson and he kicks to the inside at the guard next year, and then the next 2 years after Beers is gone, he goes to the center. So maybe he is a 3-year starter after this year. I think this year he's a 2, but there's a lot of upside in this room, like Tristyn was saying, and that's what makes me super encouraged. On top of that, you still got Reese Tripp here, who is a mammoth of a man. 6'7", 335 pounds. Do not mess with this man. If you ever need a job in security after football is done, bro, you're hired on the spot, no questions asked. Like, huge. I hope he gets an opportunity down the line just because he's so faithful. He's from Minnesota and he's huge. We'll see what happens there. And then the transfer coming in, Jaden Ball, 6'6", 300 pounds. He had 325 pancake blocks in high school. And he comes in from Purdue. He redshirt last year, and so now he's going to get 4 years with the Gophers program, where again he can learn from Cali for the next year or two before we really need him to start to step up.
Yeah, that's it. It is an exciting room, like looking into the future. Whereas some of the position groups we've looked at so far, we're kind of like, what are we going to do next year? But this room is very promising. Which I mean, in the Big Ten, this is probably the most important room in the whole thing. Like, you can't do anything without this offensive line being, very solid up front in this conference. So
Yeah, no, I feel you 100%. Then the last names to know, all probably are going to redshirt this year. True freshmen coming in, Daniel Shipp, Kavion Lee, Mark Handy, and Nick Spence. I'm not going to dive into them. I hope they have great development years. I hope they stick with it. I hope they stay for the long run because offensive line is not a position that you can really learn in 1 year. Like, it's going to take 2 years, 3 years before you can really get in on the action unless you are like elite of elite, cream of the crop. And at the same time, even when you're not, just having that development helps set you up to try and get to the NFL when you first come out and you're ready to play, as opposed to playing catch up and trying to show your potential early on and maybe getting flustered or losing confidence. So take your time in the process, enjoy it, build with one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, and stay for the long haul.
yeah, I feel like and the offensive line coach, he does a great job of he is able to move guys around. I feel like to a level that you don't see very typically. Like, guys will go from left guard, I'm playing right tackle now. Like, it's good to have kids in the room who can learn that type of stuff, because I mean, you see the field a lot faster, and if you know what they're doing on that side, it makes you better at the job you want to be on. I don't know. I'm very excited. I think they do a good job of putting guys in new spots when it's needed. So that's an exciting thing to think about.
Yeah, no, I feel you 100%. So then is there any, I guess, random predictions, sleepers, breakouts, or anything that you have for this offensive line?
I had Nathan Roy, and you kind of confirmed that. It's kind of sweet. It's awesome when I do research on stuff and then you say it too, and I'm like, yes, I'm not just talking nonsense right now. So I'm gonna go with Nathan Roy, breakout year. How about that? There we go. Hot
I
take.
feel it. Yeah, no, I kind of said mine. I think Greg Johnson is going to put himself on the radar this year, being back in his natural position, but having more of a field presence and a field knowledge across the board. I think that's going to help him dominate this year. He's going to help improve this run game that we desperately need to come back. And Darius Taylor and Greg Johnson, the class of, what is it, 2023, working
Yo,
together. I think that can be real nice. Those two having great years this year.
agreed. Agreed.
All right, let's talk about the Big Ten. I want to know, are there any names you actually know in the Big Ten when it comes to offensive line? Because I didn't. I definitely had to dive deeper on this one. I feel like all the names, the big names that you usually hear when it comes to like those guys that are gonna be drafted, like usually I know two or three. Like Olu Fashanu when he was at Penn State, that was a name that I definitely knew heading into it. There were none of those for me this year. And that isn't to say that there's no guys, NFL guys, like top dudes, because there definitely is.
There's
But
not gonna
like,
be any
I just
draft picks.
think,
No
yeah,
offensive line draft picks next year.
zero. The Big Ten offensive line sucks. No, I think overall it's just like it's a weird spot, a weird conglomeration. And when I started to look, there's a lot of groups that have a lot of starters coming back, but they're not necessarily like stars. So I think that people are doing well with their O lines, but not necessarily putting out the dudes who are just like, I'm him, I'm a top 10 pick for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know any. I didn't. I thought about it. I'm like, I could write down some names, and I said that's not genuine. I don't know any of these names. So I wrote down three teams: Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan. Probably going to have good offensive lines. Now that's analysis right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is called what we hate the most, and it's called helmet scouting. He said the schools that typically are good and typically do well, and they are gonna be good again. Great, great analysis there.
Well, I do.
You, hey, you're doing the same thing ESPN's doing, so I can't even blame you on that.
It's great. I'm getting this talking head thing.
Hey, I get it. I get it. I feel it. All right, so I'm going to dive into my top 10 because I did jump in, I did do the research, and you know what? I could be completely wrong, but I'm feeling that this is going to happen.
I love it.
Number one, hate to say it, absolutely hate to say it. Number one, Iowa. Now, Iowa has two offensive linemen that are some of the best in the conference and the country. They are potential preseason All American type guys in Jennings Dunker. What a name. What a name,
That's a
Jennings
great.
Dunker. and then Logan Jones. Both of them were all conference players last year. And then they also have another starter on top of that who returned. So they have 3 starters coming back and a young buck who played a few games last year and graded on PFF as a 97.6. That is literally one of the best grades I have ever seen. And I was like, bro, if you do that for a whole season instead of like 3-4 games, you gonna be him. Like, talk about who's gonna be a top 5 pick. You keep that up and you are golden. So
Iowa
overall,
they might score some offensive points if he plays that well.
right. I mean, Caleb Johnson was putting in work on the ground last year, but you keep blocking like that, like, bro, forget Caleb Johnson, forget whoever. Like, I think his name was Cade. I'm gonna miss his last name. I think it started with a P, but look, Cade, I'll know your name for sure if you block like that again. All right, number 2, I've got Oregon. So great job on your analysis,
Look at me.
Tristyn. Great job
I
overall.
know ball. I know
They've
ball.
got a guy, Iapani Lalolu. Probably
Perfect.
wrong, but we're
No,
going with it.
no, that was
Iapani
perfect.
Lalolu.
Yep, that was
It
exactly right.
feels better when you say it faster. When you put the like Iapani Lalolu. Okay, yep. He knows what he's talking about.
If
Yep,
you say it confident, nobody's gonna know.
exactly. And then you got Emmanuel Pregnon. So both of those 2 players, Pregnon transferred in from USC, and Lalolu was there last year at Oregon. Both of those guys, again, all conference players, made the all conference teams. So you got 2 of those, you're going to be in the top 5, easy money. And then they also bring in a Nevada tackle who did really well, was a high graded transfer. I think he was like the top 10 lineman in the transfer portal last year. So 3 dudes that could be studs. Penn State comes in at number 3. So again, great helmet scouting.
Yep.
They've got a guy in Olai Vavega. Again, just plow through it. Hopefully it sounds right.
Yep.
So that's his first name.
Oh.
Olivai. Whoop, I did it good the first time. Olai Vavega Ione is his name.
Oh yeah.
Second team Big Ten last year. Also have 3 other starters next to him. So 4 starters from a Penn State playoff team last year are all back. So it was hard not to put them as one, but I'm gonna give the 2 lines with 2 off conference players each. I'm gonna give them the lead on this one. So Penn State comes in at 3, but again, all 3 of those are nasty. Number 4, Illinois. J.C. Davis was an all-conference player, and they have 4 total starters back again this year. So you're starting to see this theme. A lot of these schools got 3, 4 dudes coming back, and I'm like, yo, these lines might be nasty.
Offensive linemen aren't affected by the transfer portal. They're just not interested in the transfer portal.
Right. And you feed me right, and we're good. Forget the money. I'm just wanting the food. Like, but we don't play Penn State and we don't play Illinois, so luckily we don't have to see 2 of my 4 top lines. We do play number 1 Iowa. We do play number 2 Oregon, so tough. Number 5, we play Ohio State. So they have 2 starters, Tishabola and Hinsman. Those are the last names. They're both back. Plus, they had a part-time starter who is back. Plus, they've got Philip Daniels coming in, which Gopher fans know. He held his own. He showed a lot of shine here. I don't even know if he's actually going to be a starter still, but there's a ton of upside and potential in that Ohio State room, so it's hard not to put them in the top 5. Then the bottom ones, I'm not going to go as deep on. I've got Wisconsin. They've got 3 big-time starters back that all played over 700 snaps last year. Rutgers has 3 full-time starters back and a part-time starter back. So overall, they've got a ton of production back and to not be a top 10. Michigan comes in at 8. This grade, I didn't even look at how many players they have coming back because I was like, look, it's Michigan, just like Tristyn did.
That's what
I was like, it's Michigan. Their head coach is a former O-line coach, and now they have a really good quarterback. Like, those grades are going to go up regardless, so they're going to be in the top 10. And then after that, it's a crapshoot. I put Indiana at 9. They have 3 starters back plus a couple transfers coming in. And then I put number 10, I didn't even put a team. I put any of my honorable mentions. So I put Minnesota as an honorable mention. I put USC as an honorable mention. I put Nebraska as an honorable mention because they all have like 3 to 4 linemen coming in from the transfer portal along with 2 starters. So I feel like they're going to find a way to do it. It's hard to know until you see it on the field. So yeah, everybody in the top 9 have 3 starters or more coming back. It's crazy.
That is insane. Like, it feels like the whole theme of don't they know college football now is play 1 year on a team and then transfer out. This is crazy. I was unaware of how many returning starters all those schools had. I mean, it is awesome for them, and hopefully they do well. But that's crazy.
No, you know what it means? It means when we have 3 to 4 starters coming back next year,
Mm-hmm.
everybody else is only gonna have 1 or 2, and we gonna be up in the top 5 of this list. That's what it means.
It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. I can't wait.
All right, we're going to talk about our final topic, and that is the Purdue Boilermakers. Now, I'm going to let you lead this conversation. I'm going to tell you because I think I'm going to give you a take that you might catch you off guard. It might catch you a little bit. So, the Purdue Boilermakers, what do you see heading into this matchup? I believe this is game 6 for the Gophers on the season.
Well, I mean, last year they averaged 10,000. They had total of 10,000 points in the season. Oh, sorry, that was a basketball stat. I forgot it was a basketball school for a second here. No, Purdue, not a great football program right now. Right now, 1-11 last year, averaged 15 points on offense, gave up 40 points on defense. Not necessarily winning formula. So my take on them is that I think they will have a better season than they did last year. That's the analysis that I was looking at when I broke it down. I mean, they have guys coming in, but they also, I saw that, did they lose their best defender? Then was he a D lineman?
They lost a couple big dudes. They lost a safety to Oregon. They lost their tight end to Ohio State. They lost another defensive end to someone. So yeah, they lost quite a few.
Yeah, but I mean, they have guys coming in, and 1-11. I mean, you can only go up from there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. In fact, my notes for this team is that I think that they're going to be a major crapshoot this year, and I'm actually slightly worried that this could be a dropped game for the Gophers because they always have one.
Mm-hmm.
They always have that one that just cuts deep. I think of Northwestern. I think of
they beat us the last time we played them.
Yep,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
At homecoming, which guess what? This is a homecoming game that we're playing Purdue at this year. Again, another thing that gives me anxiety is the Gophers in homecoming games because besides last year with Maryland, I always feel uncomfortable with Gophers homecoming games.
We have said so many things. I personally have said so many things about Purdue. We have to win this. We have to win this game. We cannot drop a homecoming game again. I can't have that.
All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of fear in you before we maybe clean it up a little bit. But so this is also, like I said, a game that looks like a drop spot because we play Ohio State the week before and we play Nebraska the week after. So it's like it's in the worst spot. It's the worst type of situation. You've got the new head coach coming in. He coached at Missouri and he was 25-25, 500 overall between 2016 and 2019. Then he went to UNLV over the last 2 years and he went 20-8 overall with UNLV. Did good there.
Awesome there.
Yep, and he was 1-4 in bowl games. So unfortunately, this is not a bowl game because we know PJ cooks, and this guy clearly does not. So, but overall, he's a defensive coach. He used to coach linebackers and safeties, and his defense with UNLV last year. It's not like UNLV is kicking the doors down with transfers or recruits or anything like that. They were 99th in pass defense. Okay, not great. 23rd in rush defense, 27th in scoring defense, 11th in sacks, 8th in total sacks, 23rd in turnovers gained, and 49th in total defense. And that total defense is being dragged down by the pass defense. So overall, this defense was actually pretty nutty aside from the pass defense, and they really showed out. And that was in year 2 with UNLV. So I was like, okay, let me go look at the transfers that they've got coming in and see like what type of dudes they got. Tristyn, I want you to guess how many transfers coming in Purdue has.
It's got to be a lot. It's got to be coaching machine change.
Pick a number.
At least 20.
54. They have 54 transfers coming in. Their whole team is transfers. They have 7 freshmen and 54 transfers coming in this year.
How do you even? Like their staff has to be working overtime. How do you even have that many offers to send out to people? Like, hey, depending on how many yeses we get, you might get a scholarship, but you might not.
Bro,
Like,
I had to triple check. I went and looked at the number and I was just like you, like, what? Are you kidding? And I went and counted, bro. I went down the list. I was like, are you serious? Bro, they have 27 transfers coming in from Power 4 schools. They took 2 Georgia wide receivers and a Georgia offensive lineman. They have 4 players coming from Arkansas. They have 25 defensive transfers. They've got 3 quarterbacks coming in. I mean, a whole lot of their transfers, too, they're like rated 3-star transfer recruits.
yep,
But if you look at their high school recruits, like their high school ratings before they
yep,
transferred and everything like that, a lot of them are 4 and 5-star dudes that were high schoolers that now are transferring as 3-star dudes. So that means the talent is there. People thought these guys were going to be something. So if this coach can pull it out of them, this is where I'm like, damn, this team could be scrappy and the game is in a crappy position for us. And if we literally overlook it, this could be bad. This is a game that Minnesota has to put up some offense. Darius Taylor has to be on one. Drake Lindsey has to be comfortable at this point, because if you sit there and let this Purdue team hang around on homecoming in a close game, that is not what you want with this team. That is exactly what Barry Odom, the new head coach of Purdue, wants, but that is not what PJ wants. And usually that's PJ's type of game. Like, keep
right
it
to where he
close, run
goes
the
to.
clock.
Yep.
We don't want that in this year with unknowns, because the film isn't going to be amazing breaking down this stuff. There's too many different coaches to start to look at. And yes, they'll have 6 weeks of film up to this point. But again, 54 transfers coming in. They're still going to be finding their groove and chemistry by the time the Gophers play them. And that's what makes it a little bit more worrisome for me.
Yeah, I wish you would have just said nice things to me. I don't know why you're not saying nice things. Um, that is a little bit disheartening, but still, they were 1-11 last year.
That's
Come
fair.
on now.
That's fair.
Come on now. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. I have this as a win. I have no wiggle room for losses in my 10-2. So I'm no wiggle room, especially the homecoming thing. That will throw off my whole thing.
The whole
That is
vibe
good to
will be
know though.
ruined.
Sounds like we might have to bet Purdue a couple of times this year.
Yeah, right? Just not
While the
against
line
Minnesota.
moves. Yeah. Just not against it. Nope. Won't do it.
Yeah, I feel you. But overall, I do think this is a game Minnesota will win. I think the home crowd should help them in this one. Hopefully, it gives Drake Lindsey enough time to feel comfortable. And I feel like if he's comfortable and the run game is actually cooking at this point, I feel like Minnesota can get out to a lead like they did against Maryland. Maryland was a team that was hanging with some schools last year. I think they beat USC last year. But Minnesota came out in that game. They were finally clicking and things were feeling right, and they blew the doors off. And I think you can do the same thing with this Purdue team, but you can't let them hang around. So overall, in year 1, I think we should be okay. Now you get to year 2, that's where things can start to get interesting, because he starts to get some momentum and some actual program guys. Now, of his 54 transfers, only 7 of them came from UNLV, but I'm sure that they were like key players that actually played there. So he's got some guys that can help teach it this year and hopefully pick things up quicker. So overall, Purdue is not a game to chalk up as an easy dub. The Gophers cannot take them lightly.
I don't think that. Well, I think as the season gets closer to, like, we don't have a team that can take any of these games lightly. Like
No, I'm taking Northwestern State lightly. If we
yes, over the first 2 games, those are like, well, we should be able to beat those teams with our eyes closed, hopefully. But once we get into conference play, I think we're not, like, the spreads are not going to be big. We're not going to get
Yeah.
a lot of big spreads on these games. So I think we still win. We still beat Purdue. Homecoming. It's homecoming.
Yeah. If you're making me pick in June, I'm picking the Gophers to win this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. But that could be it. Maybe a little Indiana run in them. If they get Indiana energy, I don't think we'll ever see a team do what Indiana did last year in the first year.
Nah, unless I see a coach come out with that Google Me energy, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying
That was the
it.
best thing. So cool. He should run for president when he's.
He should. He
What
should. I bet you a lot of people would vote for him.
That's what I'm saying. He's got my vote.
He made Indiana great again.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's wrap it up with our ChatGPT question. I'm not going to have a great answer for this one, but I'm going to try to come up with one. But what is the wildest superstition that you've ever heard from a Gopher fan or a Gopher player or anything of the sort?
I'm not gonna lie. When I'm at home, I don't have one. If I have a certain shirt on or like a shirt and shorts combination and we win, I will go out of my way to try to wear that same thing for the next game. No, it doesn't. It's silly and it's dumb, but I will do that. I do the same thing with like Brevs, like the Cowboys. And if they win in something I got on, I got to put that thing back on again. That's
Yeah.
just because I'm just at home. Nobody sees me in it. So
No, I feel you. I feel you. I feel
you know,
like I'm similar to that in a sense of like for the away games, I'll if I'm watching at the crib or something like that, I'll be like, oh yeah. If I'm not rocking anything Gophers, I'm just enjoying it, and they're losing, I'll go put some Gophers on.
oh yeah,
Or if
you
like
have to change the vibes.
if they're winning, I'm not moving. Like I'm exactly locked in on
Oh yeah.
what we're doing. So like yeah, it's all
I've kicked
about the
my wife
vibe
out of her
change.
room before. I've kicked her out and been like, "Hey, honey, I love you, but you got to finish this game in the other room because we're winning right now, and I don't want to screw anything up here." He threw that pick because you sat down on this couch.
Right, right. I got a good friend though. It's not Gophers related, but still football with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a big Eagles fan, and I was watching the Super Bowl, the first Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl where the Eagles lost. I was watching it at his place, right? And this dude during the entire game had one headphone in his ear the entire time. I was like, what is going on? And I like kind of like was because I was next to him a little bit, so I kind of like leaned in, right, and I was like, "What is he?" He had the Rocky theme song and "Eye of the Tiger" on loop going in his earbud the entire game. I was like, "Yo, what is happening right now?" I just hear. "Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo."
3 hour football game is crazy work,
It was that and "Eye of the Tiger" on repeat, bro, on repeat.
and it didn't work. I bet he didn't have it on for the next Super Bowl. He
I
said,
don't,
"Nope,
I don't, I don't think he did, and they
nope,
won. So it looks
exactly."
like that tradition had to go.
Yep, he's think it didn't work, but he tried his best. He did
He
everything he
tried.
could. He did
He
everything
tried.
he could, and that's what
Hey
it's all
man,
about as a fan. You got to do everything you can to win this game.
he's got to see 3 Super Bowls in the last like half decade, so he's chilling. Like
That's just
he,
not
he
fair. It's
he's
just not fair.
cooling.
That's why I do. I was talking about this with somebody. I think a national championship for a college football team, that's probably better than a Super Bowl. I think that feels better than a Super Bowl. Like,
You could make the case, especially because, well, I guess if you get a ton of them, like Alabama probably isn't rocking like that
yeah,
anymore.
that's
They're
not
like, yo,
fun.
we've been spoiled by it. But if an underdog team came through like that, there are over 130 teams in college
Yeah,
football FBS. So you were the one to go number one. Yeah, that town needs to be going crazy.
like it's gotta be. That's gotta be the best feeling. One day we'll get there. I can't wait.
One day, one day. I feel like
One
that's
season
what
at a
we've been
time.
saying as Minnesota fans in every sport for
One
all
day.
of our lives.
It would just be so cool. Timberwolves next year. There we go. Book it.
Hey, the Celtics are down next year. I'll give it to you. Like, go
There you
ahead.
go.
JT
Oh
will be
yeah,
back
you
the
got
year
to be
after.
all in. You got to be all in on the T Wolves next year because you got to. You're on a break year. You're on a.
No, I'm
Y'all
I'm still in all in on the
y'all might be
Celtics,
taking the year off.
but I don't think we win in a championship without JT. So
But
if
if they
if the
do,
Timberwolves can go ahead and get one next year, y'all go ahead and take it, and then the Celtics can get back on track and have the rest of them.
though, that'll be a great spot for all the Jason Tatum haters. Are the Celtics better without Jason Tatum? That's what they'll be asking if they win one without him.
I want to hear that. I want to hear
I'm just kidding. I just kidding. I like Jason Tatum.
that. All right, man, that's going to do it for us here at the Gopher Broke podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hit subscribe over on YouTube. Follow wherever you get the podcast. Leave a 5-star review. If you want to have us talk about certain things throughout the season, want us to mix in some other things, drop it in the comments. Send us a message on Twitter or something. We'll try to make it happen. But this show is for y'all, so hopefully you're having fun. Hopefully you're getting into the vibes. Tell others about the show. We'll keep growing this audience, but it is starting to tick up. The views are ticking up a little bit. Love to see it. Once we get to the season, it's going to take off. I feel it. I feel it. So be one of the first ones. Be a loyal follower with the Gopher Broke podcast. Until next time, row the boat, sky you ma, and go Gophers.